The cosmic journey, it begins and ends, seeking to exit this loop I'm in. The recycling of souls must come to an end, and to be no more. Hi, Daphne. All right, so here we are again on a Friday. Just you and I. Gee willikers. So I'm just gonna diddle around here. I can hear myself an echo on the playback here, or should I say through my speakers. Wish I could find a way to be able to run a internal preamp system so that I can compensate for this delay that I have going on. Yeah, Black Friday. You know where that comes from, right? It has to do with Philadelphia. And how far back does this go? In the 60s? Had to do with a baseball. Philadelphia. Was it baseball? Well, yeah, this time of year, baseball. Had something to do with losing or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it was. But you can look it up, I guess. It has nothing to do with stores and selling things. Had to do with a baseball game. Yeah, yeah. Unless I turn it up, you can't hear it. But I can hear it, which is annoying. Makes for the reason why I can't actually do any performance live, especially if I'm singing along to a track or something. I can't do that because it's the latency drives me nuts. It's impossible to be able to do that with this going on. So I got it turned down pretty low, but I can still hear it. You can't hear it, but I can hear it enough to annoy me. So that I can hear when I'm playing other stuff, so I can hear it without relying specifically on the levels that I can see here off to my left. As I'm speaking, I can see my auxiliary and mic line levels. And so I can see where that's at. So when I'm playing a track or something, I can see what's going on. If I have it turned down all the way, I can still see it and where it begins and where it ends. But I like to be able to hear it at least enough to where I know exactly where it ends and where it begins without relying on the levels. Anyhow, so hi Virginia, how are you? All right, it's gonna be a free for all here. Another free for all Friday. Any subject matter, anything anybody wants to discuss or talk about, feel free. I'm going to play some music, I guess. I'm just going to do things I like to do. So I'm going to go ahead and play this next song here. It's a composition that I had written, I don't know, how many years now? 15? I think about 15, 16 years ago. This is called the Music Box Waltz. Alrighty then. As usual, I don't have anything planned for today. I'm just showing up. So, probably not going to be here for very long. not green. It's just the regular color. Yeah, somebody really, really, really dear to me bought this for me. Thank you. Green thumb. Oh, well, yeah. Well, as I had mentioned, and the reason why I didn't show up last Friday, um, I got injured, and well, I have arthritis in my neck and osteoporosis, and it's a long story, but it was a combination of a couple different things. I've been working around here because somebody's got to do it, and I can't afford to have anybody do it for me. So I've been trimming a 30-foot pine tree for the last month and a half here, and among other things, and I hurt myself. Um, so I'm better now and everything, but I'm always in, without uh, saying too much about it, I'm always in pain. Okay, discomfort, more discomfort than pain, but I can do the littlest things because of my osteoporosis and arthritis in my neck. This has been a lifetime of condition. Okay, so this has been with me for a while, and so I can do certain things like move a certain way, and it'll just feels like my neck's gonna snap. And that is because I've been doing a lot of work, and surprisingly being able to do it. But I'm very tenacious. Otherwise, well, my tenacity um, is one of the reasons why I'm still here. All right, but drive of my spirit, if you will. Um, so yeah, um, I've recovered as much as I possibly recover under under the conditions I am. So I've been doing a lot of work around in there, trimming the trees and fertilizing and stuff, and I've been getting assistance to be able to do that, and um, meaning far as financially to be able to. I hadn't been able to work in the backyard, and the backyard was barren. It was laid fallow for about 25 years. It had all kinds of brick and gravel, and the ground was even poisoned. So it took a long time for it to get it to where I could get anything to grow in it, and it's a long story, many years involved with that. And so I had some trees, well, still do. Back there, I have a couple citrus trees, one grapefruit and one lemon, both being dwarf, and a dwarf nectarine tree, and a pomegranate vine. You can think of it as a tree, but it's really a vine, and if it gets big enough, it looks like a tree. But I had grew that from seed, and a apricot tree. Used to have a apple tree. It's very weird zoning here for apples. Apples don't really produce in this area because it's just not cold enough for them. But however, mine did for a short period of time, then it died. And the reason why it died, I wasn't quite sure really what caused the infection, because it received an infection, and I realized it came from the cat. The cat that I had at the time would scratch the tree, and I would cover it. I put a guard around the tree, so it couldn't do that anymore. But cats carry bacteria within their claws, and if you've ever been scratched by a cat, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so it's poisonous. So there was an infection that occurred because of that. It took a while for me to realize that's what it was, where it came from. But it ended up eventually killing the tree. And matter of fact, that happened again to a tree in the backyard, which was the nectarine tree. And so I had to put a guard around that because I'm not going to allow that to happen again. So, there's a big pine tree back there. You think they would scratch that, but they don't. They go for the little ones. And and again, I've been just trying to bring back um, uh, some life to the backyard there, which I hadn't been able to do for years. It's like when I got sick initially back in 2021, really is where everything went downhill. Wasn't able to do anything for it for a long time, and it was neglected because I couldn't work. And so anyhow, here recently I've been over the last couple of months been working to bringing back life to the backyard, and that pine tree back there was quite the endeavor. And now it's better. And the thing about the pine tree was is that it produces a high acidic compounds within its leaves or within the needles, and it will kill everything that's underneath it from because of the needles falling on the ground. It will turn the ground barren. It will turn it to sand eventually. So I've been trying to keep that from happening, and it's been quite the ordeal. So so they're just talking about having a green thumb. I don't know if they're green or not, but I don't even know what that means. But it requires quite a bit of work, and I really love the idea of being able to work with the ground and grow things. Mainly being a caretaker of it, I really enjoy bringing, restoring, and making it better. Helping it, assisting it in its growth and whatever stages that may be. Whether it's just cultivation or from the ground up in regard to the seed and the germination thereof. But that's what I've been doing here. In preparation as well in regard to potentially putting this place up for sale. My objective and goal and intention is very clear in regard to the time that I have left within this incarnation. I'm going to be doing exactly what I had intended to do, which is a long story, and that is going out on the road and performing and doing all the things related to what I intended to do, and that's a big part of it. Music, everything involved with that, the things that I've written for stories, everything. You know, public, publishing a lot of my materials that I have written over the years, and seeing things, just trying to give all that I can to the things that I've have developed and make it happen. This was something that I was beginning to do when I was 30 years old, actually prior to that, but 30 years old is where I was going professional with it. And things changed. Time I was 33, I was bedridden, and so just kind of regaining some momentum here at the latter part of my life. And this is the only time I have to do it. This is it. There is no other time. This is the last roundup, so to speak. So that's what I'm focusing on, and the garden, the backyard, which I really love that backyard at this stage and has great potential. Originally, I was intending it to be a forest. Yeah, that was my original intention with it, and it could still be that. It's just a matter of balance. Again, the pine tree was a big thing because It's a long story, the reason why I have that in the backyard. But it doesn't play well with others. So just trying to making sure that others have room to survive and flourish. Oops, hold on a second. I got something going. Yeah, I'm just talking here, but eventually I won't be talking at all. At least not in front of a camera. So that's always something to look towards, which I am looking forward towards. Um, yeah, so yeah, just getting the place ready so that when time comes, I can move on as quickly as possible. So it's a matter of preparation. So something I've been doing here in the process is resting, meaning letting go of all these other things I've been doing. I mean, the things that I've been doing online. It's been a substitution for the real thing, and it's not what I want. It's never really what I wanted to begin with. What I wanted to do is what I'm looking to regain. So you have to let go of everything else except for what your true intention is towards, and letting go in a manner which I refer to as at this stage as resting, so that I can be focused within the moment of what I'm doing and not being careful for anything else. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I've been working towards. And there it is. So as far as doing all this other stuff that I have been doing, it's something of the past. Yeah. I mean, if I had a reason to really work towards these far as stuff online and what's going on, um, I probably would, but I don't really have any incentive and haven't had for a long time. And it's not where my heart's at anyhow. Never has been. I was looking to create community online. I wasn't looking to create a brand. I wasn't looking to do primarily what everybody else does. You know, that's no reflection on anybody else. It just wasn't something that I was wanting to do because of what I had already done. And I just want to get back to doing what I was doing, in a different way now, in a more fuller way, I would hope. At least that's my conviction. And fulfill that within me. I've been talking about for a very long time about working through your joy, working through the things that are most dear to you and your first love experience. And you know, I like to be able to keep things as simple as possible, especially these days. And so I'll have a tendency to repeat myself over and over and over again through this about the same things, but it's in a simpler way that I can do it. It doesn't need to be gone into detail. I've done that several times, and I don't like repeating myself these days. And for a lot of different reasons. Mainly, I don't want to hear the same thing spinning around. It seems like it goes nowhere. And anytime that I ever addressed people in public or spoke in a public forum, meaning not online, I mean in the real world, where I was able to be on a podium or whatever and speak, there was always interaction immediately with what was going on. I would be able to see people directly. People would speak to me afterwards, and so on and so forth. So it was real time, real in the moment type of thing. This online thing I have been doing, it's the complete antithesis of that. And it's not what I'm used to. It doesn't feel right. It never felt right. It just feels really so many degrees of separation with that. So there's not a whole lot of incentive for me to be online anymore after 15 years. So, I mean, it is what it is. And it wasn't really what my initial intention was to begin with. It's a long story. Everybody has one, and I have a very long one. I've been around for a while, and nobody wants to hear that. And I don't even want to hear it coming out of my own mouth. So I just know it's been a long haul, and I knew where I was and where things were at, and I know where things are at now, and I don't want to be where I'm at anymore. I don't want to be doing this. No, just don't. And like I said, it's a long story. Nobody wants to hear that. So I'm just kind of just letting everybody know, if things change, which likely they won't, as far as the online thing here. I know I'm going over and over. I don't even like listening to the sound of my own voice talk about this stuff because I'm done with it. But I'm just saying, if there was a reason, which there really isn't, hasn't been for a very long time, that is incentive to want to stay online and do this. There has to be new life breathed back into it, and there's really nothing for me to resuscitate from here because there's nothing I can pull from it. It's not enough. Hasn't been for a very long time. So I'm willing to take the chance to go back out there as an older person, and within a world that is different from what I used to be part of. And but I'm willing to do that because there has to be something better than what's been going on. I no longer wish to confine myself to this cyber cubicle. Yeah, I have a lot to say about it, but I will stop at this point. So I'm just gonna play some music and stuff, and yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna play some music, okay? I guess this is kind of fitting. I'll play this. I now choose to reawaken. I now choose life everlasting, life everlasting. I now choose eternal love and this divine splendor. I now choose. Mati Brown, Habre Adun, Mati Brown, Yased Wan Ebreon, Mati Brown, Ebezalu, Tie. to reawaken. I now choose life everlasting, life everlasting. I now choose eternal love and its divine splendor. I now choose Mati Brown, Abre Adun, Mati Brown, Yasid Wenne Brown, Mati Brown, Evezalu Diave. I now choose to reawaken, to reawaken. I now choose life everlasting, life everlasting. I now choose eternal love and its divine splendor. I now choose. 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 No, I'm ancient. You're not old. Um, yeah, well, you don't live in this body, do you? Spirit is willing, but the body is weak. Yeah. Yeah, well, we all have our time here, and I'm at the closing end of my time cycle here. And so I'm looking to do exactly what I intended to do with the time that I have left available to me. I can't afford, for my own personal sense of, there's certain words I would like to use, but for me personally, it's all about you, what you intend, and it reflects in regard to everything about you, that the choices that you make. And there comes a time where you come full circle, and I have a certain amount of time left, and what I'm going to do is those things that I intended. And what I've been doing here is waiting to do them, you know? And it's like been waiting at a bus stop where the bus doesn't run anymore. Yet, you're still waiting. So what does that mean? It means that you're never going to catch the bus, you're never going to go anywhere, and eventually you won't be able to wait anymore because time is up. So that's where I'm at. This online experience was only meant to be temporary, and it was meant for a connection that would be external to the internal desire, but not a substitution for doing what I was doing. What I had been doing was in the real world, which I call the real world, which this is not to me. This is not. It is a reality, but it is more of a tool than it is life. Okay? Now, this is just my conviction. People can take it for whatever they want. But for me, for when it comes to liberation and the things that I need to do for me, I have been waiting, and you can't wait forever. So this latter portion of my life, which is the end portion of this life in this incarnation, I know these things. I don't expect anybody to know that. It's not for anybody else to know except for myself. But I am honest and transparent, and I can say the things that I say, but I like to be able to define what I mean rather than being reinterpreted. I have intention to go and do the very things that I have purposed within me. I can't wait. And this online thing has been great. It's been a great tool, and I am thankful to have been able to do what I've done. But it's time to move on, because it was only a stopping off point. It wasn't meant to be a substitution for what my intention was. Okay? And the body's getting older, and I suffer within it a lot, and have been for many, many years, decades. Only you know what is good for you and what you need to do. Nobody can tell you that. People can encourage you and support you, but you have to make the choice, and only you can. And you're the one who endures and endeavors to fulfill the very things that you intended within you. At least be within the process of doing it. So, letting go or resting in the completion of what you'll be doing is where I'm at. In order to be able to take hold of, I have to let go of everything else. Can't hold on to one thing and want to grab another thing and not let go of the other thing to be able to move forward or do the next thing or do what is required of you. All these things everybody knows. It's nothing new. But I'm just trying to clarify, like I said, so I'm not misinterpreted. I'm defining myself. Hopefully it's understood. Well, I don't really think of it as fear. I know fear can be a factor, but it's just difficulty. Everybody is in their own space, and I've known my body and the things I've gone through, and nobody knows what that is. Some things I can't even explain, and it's impossible to even try to. So it's mostly been conditional for me. I'm not afraid about losing anything. I lost things 3 or 4 times already in this lifetime. I technically shouldn't even be here. So, just saying, everybody, well, you can't speak for everybody, can you? Even in a general sense, but you can speak for yourself. And it doesn't really matter if anybody understands that or not, you know. Doesn't change anything. It's just you doing it. And it's It's just, especially at certain points in your life when I was younger, more resilient, choices were a lot easier to make. Thank you, Daphne. But, well, Virginia, since I'm kind of rattle on about myself here, I was doing the very thing, I was doing those things when I was 30 years old. That's when I had my career and was taking off, and I was involved within the church. I loved being there. I had a great support system around me, and things just shifted. When you get moved out of your position in life, and then, I mean, let's just look at this for a second. If you've taken a great deal of time to be able to find your position in your life because you have a drive, you know, but you try to find that road, that space, that your lane, right? And when you find that lane and you endeavor to get to that place, you sacrificed, you did all the things that was required of you in order to be able to get to that place. And I always seen not myself as achieving any greatness, but I had the potentiality of that within me because I had the drive for it. And I had to overcome a lot of things in the process, many, many things. And within that process, you get to that stage where, okay, now you're there. It's only because now you reach that space. It's not like, okay, I've accomplished this. No, it's about you're there. Now you're there because that's what you have endeavored towards because of the ultimate goal that you had in mind. And for me, it's always been about personal things relating to telling story, connecting with people, healing, all these things that encompass me as a personality, as a being, as an artist, all these things that I have been and am. And I got to that place in this incarnation at the age of 30 years old. And then within 3 years, it was all gone. So, what is it that you're going to do? You look to try to get back on your path. That can't quit. You can't quit yourself. And it's been quite the endeavor. And here now I am 65 years, 35 years later. And I still want to do me. And this online experience has been only a stopping point for that. I don't care for this type of thing, meaning I don't like this platform. Let me rephrase that. I am a person that likes dealing with people and being out doing things and connecting that way. This online thing is a tool and it's great for what it is, but it's not a substitution for that, for what I did. And I just want to get back on my path. It's not even really about fulfillment. It's about being able to express the fulfillment of who I am, because that's already present within me. And I can't do it through this medium because it's not what I experienced earlier in my life. It's not what I know. It's not what I care for. It's not what I make my connection with. I like being in the same room with people. I like doing things that connects directly. There's too many degrees of separation through this digital domain. I don't like being conformed to this cyber portal. It's not, it's like I said, it's a stopping point, stopping over to go somewhere else. I was just waiting to move on to something else that I didn't do. And other things came up and changed things. Life shifted again. And next thing you know, you're not able to do anything at all because it's over with. And I'm at the latter stage of where I'm at. I want to get back on the path that I was on. I want to get back to me. And what I've been doing is substituting and not doing that. In brief, in moments, in the things that I would share here online, things that would be personal to me, like Crystal and Blue, different pieces of music, which are a reflection of my soul. It's telling my story. And people think I'm making this stuff up. Whatever. I'm just saying that those things are not important to people, most of the people that I connect with online. It's more about chelantic science or this and that and that and this and that, and that's fine. But it's not fine for me. What's important to you needs to be important to you. And you don't need to substitute that or take it and put it on a back seat and say, oh, well, I guess I can't be myself. No. Yeah. Because what I was doing before and what I had been doing, there's still room for that. Meaning what I did before, the people that was surrounding me, there was a liberation. There was a connection. I mean, a real connection. It was real. It was me being me and being able to give what I have to give. And it was received according to that authenticity. And being online, I've been having to conform myself to other stuff. At least it felt that way, and it has been that way. Even teaching chelantic science, that wasn't really my choice. I made that choice, but it's not what I wanted to do. It had nothing really had very little to do with me. Okay? That's somebody else's philosophy. I connect with some of it because of my experiences prior to chelantic science ever coming on the scene, or whatever that even means. But I'm shifting all the time, and because I would refer to myself as a philosopher artist / artist, I'm always, or if I'm allowed, to be able to go into that space, and I grow in that. And I haven't, because I've been conformed into a certain thing. And I can't do that anymore. So, that's it. So it's way more than the idea of fulfillment. It's who I am. And you have to be able to express yourself authentically. Your authenticity is the most important thing in regard to yourself. Knowing self is most important. Excuse me a second. I'm going to play some other music. Speaking of Crystal and Blue, I think I'll play that. Probably should have uploaded the whole story, because there's narration in the beginning of it which tells the story of the reason behind this song. I've talked about this before several times, but I'll go ahead and play it. I'm going to go check something, so I'll go play this.
Floating in liquid space. Oh,
cosmic daughter, and before all things you were. I could be you, and you could be me. I so gaze you. Can you gaze within me? Floating in liquid space, a world of water, mirroring the echoes of a dream. Pre-existence without a trace, but know your cosmic daughter, and before all things you were. Floating in liquid space, a world of water, mirroring the echoes of a dream. Pre-existence without a trace, but know your cosmic daughter, and before all things you were. Okay, so yeah, okay, so I'm going to redefine myself again. I understand what you're saying, and it's not like I don't know these things. Goodness gracious. Things change. Of course things change. But just because they change doesn't make them the changes that we need to make with ourselves. There's a lot of things that have changed that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that change that are completely unnecessary that have changed within society. So, that's if, and from a general statement, that's true, but is it applicable to you, or is it applicable, period? Or is it just a sense of conformity based on somebody else's ability to control it? Here, it's mainly what's been going on is the latter part of that. Putting you into a sense of motion to conform to a way of behavior, or funneling you within a way of function. And I disagree with all that. There's a lot that has transpired here as far as change goes, which is not beneficial at all. And like I said, the tools in regard to the online experience, it's a tool. It is not a substitution for life experience. I'm old enough to know where none of this stuff existed before. For where a lot of people perhaps maybe don't recall that because they're not of the same ripe age as I am. But I'm speaking for myself. I've done this for 15 years online. That's a lot of years. Those are years that I can't get back. And based on what I've experienced within this process, it has not been beneficial to me in the long term. Because the same things that I've done here, I could have done this. My experience was I could have done that within what I refer to as the real world, and it could accomplish as much within 2 years that it took 15 years to do online. The online experience is a tool, not a substitution, and it's become a substitution. Things change, but things don't, just because they change doesn't mean that they become better. So, yeah, this isn't something new. I've been talking about this for the last couple years, actually. But then again, with the online experience, is that who hears that? When you're talking about something that matters, like when I was involved with the church, as an example, and I was in a position of leadership. So when you would speak, people knew where you stood. You know, here online, if you say something, nobody knows about it until like 4 or 5 years later, because there's not this. It's not the same thing. And I'm used to that way of doing things and not this. I can never get used to this because it's the opposite from what I understand in regard to myself personally, in regard to life. I did not grow up with this. And it's after 15 years, it still feels alien to me. Why? Because there's too many degrees of separation with it. And like I said, it's a great tool, but it has its limitations and always will have. And it's become a substitution for most people in regard to their lives. They'll go walking down the street and they're staring at this. Things change, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it becomes better. In most cases here, it hasn't. There's certain benefits to it, but there's a whole lot of disadvantages to it. And most of the disadvantage comes through the programming, the mindset. I mean, the idea of the internet can be quite beneficial in regard to information and sharing information. And that's initially what it was created for. It was meant for communication of data and being able to transfer that data, mainly within the scientific field. But most people don't use that for that. They use it for other things. Very little use it for what it can be used for. And like I said, it's a tool, but it's become more than a tool for people. It's become a life. It's become an encompassing of a personality. It's what's molded personalities. And it has very little to do with anything to do with authenticity. Not to say that people online are not authentic, but the condition creates the lack thereof, or the conformity to something other than that. I'm just saying I've been on it for 15 years and I've done what I've done, and I didn't expect to be here this long. And I put a lot of time and effort into it. A lot of energy has been put into it. My life's blood has been put into this. And in the latter part of my life here, I want to do the very thing that I initially began to do. And again, it's about being me. And this isn't me. It's a tool. And that's what it'll always ever be. Just like this thing. Just a tool. I don't want to become a tool. So, yeah, I would like to leave this by saying, let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. And don't wait. If you're waiting, or maybe you don't realize that you are waiting, examine yourself. See if you're waiting. And you know what I mean by that. For those that are those who have ears to hear, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. And whatever you do, let your yes be yes, and let your no be no. Do or don't do. I'm done talking about it. Because you can use up a lot of energy talking about it. And you can talk yourself right out of it by talking about it. All right, I'm going to play some more music. I think I'll play something instrumental. Oops, played the wrong one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play the second part of that. This is that's the theme or the melody for the charitable, right? Um, so I'm going to break this down by going over the tones and the virtues related to those tones. So that's what's coming up here, in case you were interested in about if you run across the charitable, right? This is the heart of it, okay? And that is understanding the virtues of what's being sung, the intention behind it. So if you would like to listen to that, here we go. Eternal divine union of effective action within balance and strength. Expressed through community service with reverence. Fellowship expressed with attention, acknowledgement, appreciation, and encouragement. Eternal divine union through unconditional love, liberally expressing gratitude through giving, honoring through equality, and understanding through the affection of caring. Eternal divine union with genuine respect and reliability. Quick to listen and slow to speak, being articulate and concise, with discretion, restraint, and pure intent. Eternal divine union of self and source awareness reflecting our eternal nature within time and space. Being mindful of our creative power and responsible practice of it. The freedom to release with confidence of resolution. Okay, so if those are virtues that you connect with and agree with, and you would like to get access to the backing track that I created for that, the instrumental that you can sing along with it, you can find that in Patreon. You just have to go through the library and look for the Chez du Moonlight, and I do believe I have it. I'm not sure. I do have it on YouTube, where I have it's a series of three, and that's the last part of it is right there where I'm defining the virtues and going over that the music for it, and you can find that I'm pretty sure also in Patreon. You can download the MP3 for that. So just thought I'd mention that since I went ahead and played that. I'm just going to continue to play stuff, music. I'm going to, okay, Ere Kunare, the Song of Orion. Ere Kunare was something that I had translated, which I did a live stream of that. I translated the meaning for that. So it's a bit of a story, and so I guess I can briefly go over that at this point since I'm going to play the track. Initially, when I started composing music for Keylontic Science, I did not listen to any of the songs, any of the pre-recorded music, any of the music that was done within Keylontic Science. I listened to none of it. I think some of it crossed my path, but I refused to listen to it. And the reason why is so that what I was going to be doing, because I'm a contributor, I'm an artist, I was going to interpret and bring my own intention and encryption within those songs by writing based only off the lyrics or the words being used. And so the Song of Orion, or Eric Minare, was one of those that I did. And it sounds nothing like what it's composed with in Keylontic Science, the original. It actually, for me, was affirmed that the way that I had written it and the way that I had sung it was more authentic to the true meaning behind what it's about. And this is what enabled me to later be able to translate that, because there was no translation for it to begin with. You'll never find any translation for that outside of what I did. Okay, just saying. And the reason why I did it, because it was personal to me, and within my core, I was able to see things for what it was. And you can hear that. This is my point. You can hear that within the encryption of my soul song. My soul song, you can hear it in my voice. You can hear it in the cry, that with what is being sung, the meaning behind it. And that was affirmation to me that what was coming through me was the authentic connection to the meaning and what was behind this. All right, so I'll go ahead and play that for you, and hopefully you understood what I just said. Okay. Excuse me. Got a dry throat today. Touring? No, that's the plan. I don't know how I'm going to go about doing anything other than I'm just setting forth my intention, have been doing that for quite a while now. Been a process of, like I had mentioned, letting go. I prefer to use the word resting. So I'm going to change the screen here for a second here. Go back to full screen. So, yeah, it's everything's a process. And so it's just setting things in motion. So I've been just preparing um, and resting from other things that I'm doing, even with my activities. I'm kind of present doing what I need to do, but the things that I intend, which is in reference to your question as far as touring, um, I'm just putting myself in a position to rest, to let go of all these other things in order so that I can fully be in the moment for what my intention is. So there is no mental plans outside of what I just said, because technically I have no way to go about doing it. But I never worked that way. I've never been that way. Conditions, circumstances didn't allow for that. And when I did allow for that, I just find myself waiting and really not doing anything. And so that's not an option. Hopefully, I'm not being too vague, but it's quite detailish. But yes, that's still the intention. That's really what I'm going to do. How it's going to come about, um, I'm not going to put restrictions on that. So, as far as using the internet as a tool, um, I'm still open for that. Always will be, because it is a great tool. However, I'm not going to be doing what I've been doing in the past anymore. So whatever is going to happen, it has to be something new, and it has to be along the lines of what um, I can give myself towards, not wear like 1,000 different hats doing, because I've been too spread out over these last several years for a lot of different reasons. So I just want to be, I want to, I want whatever I'm doing to be, it needs to be narrow for me, so I can just be that and be the artist and be the philosopher that I am and just be that. I don't need to be pushing any more buttons or doing all this other stuff that I've been doing, you know. I don't even want to record. So if anything is done online in regard to this, it would probably be, recording, hopefully professionally at one point, when going off and playing or performing, whether it's an outdoor event, whether it's an in-house concert, or whatever it is. I'm not putting any restrictions on any of that. I'm just wanting my availability to be made so that those things, you know, when they cross my path, I'm prepared for it. So that's really what I'm doing. So, however, because I would like to maintain this channel just because, but I don't want to do what I've been doing before. That's over with. What I'm going to be doing, it's the next chapter. It's the last chapter of my life. And so, yeah, touring, whatever that entails. Yes, yes. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Daphne. Of course, always. Daphne is amazing. Um, a new individual I see by the name of Kwan. Okay, you can call me Kwan. Okay, I have to kind of backtrack and read some of this stuff that's been posted here. I try to apologize before this in the past, but I'm just not good at reading stuff. So I have to kind of force myself to do that. And sometimes I'm just not in the mood to do it, honestly. Okay. Thank you, Sally, for being here. Thank you for commenting. Um, Lunar, I guess that's Lunar? Okay, hopefully. Thank you, thank you. Beautiful music, thank you. Appreciate that. I like everybody's points and everything they have shared here. I really appreciate that. Got my joke about the tool. I don't want to become a tool. So, yeah, I was, like I said, I predate the internet, of course. I'm 65 years old, so um, the way things used to be was perfectly fine. I mean, it was just felt, for lack of terms, more normal, back in the day for me, because when people needed to go somewhere, hardly any people even used the phone. Occasionally, you would use the phone, old dial-up phone or whatever, but mostly you just go there. You just go. Either you walked or you drove or something, but you go there. And it was more participatory with people, you know? This is my experience. And I remember experiencing and seeing things and being involved with things back then that, as far as I know, doesn't even exist today. At least not in the same way, not even close. And like I said, this has become a substitution, and people have been funneled into it. And yeah, just I feel it's just the energy is, and it's just so, yeah. I don't like being around electronic devices that much to begin with because it starts to kind of mess with me. It doesn't take very long for I start feeling agitated. I can feel the energy. It's just a lot of stuff, carrier waves, and different things are can flow in it, through it, and I'm much better when I just shut everything off. And even to the point of mirrors, I there was a point where I just pulled all the mirrors down and just got rid of them for a while. And last night I had, because I put them back up again. At least I put a couple back up again. One for the bathroom and one for the hallway, and just out of convenience. And but it was too close to the connected to the bathroom mirror, the other mirror, and there was an agitation that I felt in the room. And I just walked up and I took the mirror and I put it down. And as soon as I did that and I walked back in the hallway, I just felt like something just like, now I can breathe again. It was weird, but I knew what it was, you know? So the less we expose ourselves to certain things that make that portal connection, and the internet has huge portal connections, all kinds of different stuff coming through it. Um, you just feel better, I like spending time outside and in the backyard and putting my hands in dirt and you know walking around barefoot. Uh, just just feels so much better, you know. So everything that I've been doing here, I'm not going to be doing it in the same way anymore. Just not. It's that chapter's over with. Hold on a second. I think I have somebody at the door. Okay. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and ooh, a organ. Pipe organ. Who's talking about love pipe organ? Yeah, I've never heard a pipe organ. I mean, I've heard what they sound like, but I've never heard one in person, is what I was saying. What I meant, actually. That would be quite the. That would be quite interesting. I'd love to be able to visit some place that has an actual pipe organ. Yeah. Well, my plan here is I'm going to try to. Once a week, I will be coming on here once a week and doing this, what I'm doing. Um, far as plans in regard to doing this, there's a couple things that I would like to do or try to do. One would be to look to do some live performance, see how that works out. You know, never know how things are going to sound on the other end. There's always technical difficulties and things like that in regard to that. But um, that's one of the things. And I also like to be able to tell some stories. I like to be able to tell stories. And all these, everything I do, there's my soul's in it. It's telling my soul's story. And either it's through something that I elaborate on or whatever it may be within the storytelling, whatever, but it's always beneficial. It's always going to be something that is going to provoke thought and intention and own your own personal reflection. You know, so if I do anything here like this from now on, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. If people want to talk about Keylontic science or they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about, it's open for that. It's like I said, this is meant to be a platform. Initially, it was meant to be a platform as a community, as much as a community can be a community online, so that it's like a safe haven to be able to communicate and share with one another and co-create and things develop where it can extend itself from this platform or the online platform as it would be into real life, boots on the ground relationships. But yeah, so I'm going to look to be more personal about what I'm going to be doing from now on instead of teaching. I don't want to be doing any of that what I did before. Just, you know, unless somebody's interested in it, I'll engage and give what I have to offer in regard to it. But from now on, if anything else, it's just going to be more about authenticity, you know. And I would love to be able to, even if people want to learn some things like songs and stuff like that, I can show you like snippets and different things like that. If people are interested in things in music and stuff like that, which that's like part of my first love, because it's the arts. Um, I would be happy to want to do that. If there were enough people interested in doing that, I would just so much want to do that. But the things that I did before, definitely not the same way that I did before. That's over with. That chapter's closed. But yeah, it's time for something new, right? Oh, yeah, technical difficulties, I guess, right? You weren't synced with the video and the chat. Okay. Well, thank you, Stephen. That's means a whole lot to me for you to say something like that. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate that. Really do. It really helps me. It makes a big difference. Yeah, through my suggestion is to You can join Patreon. You can join it free if you want, but it's a good way to message people privately, you know? So that way it can be, it's obviously it's still online, right? But it's not out in the open. And some things, like people's phone numbers or whatever, to make connections with other people, you want to share that as private as you can. So, yeah, for those that, I ask just one thing, and that is, if you join Patreon, please participate. If you're you want to become a supporter of there financially, then that's awesome. But if you want to become just a member and you want to become a free member, I just ask that you participate in it. You know, get to know people. Be present there. You know, um, that's one of the reasons for it. Is really that. You know. I mean, when I first came online and over the years, I created different groups, whether it was a music group or whether it was, a spiritual group or whatever. The whole idea was people co-creating with one another. That was my drive. That was my objective by putting the group together, So it's important to participate or just, you know, make yourself available and get involved because, you know, we can't really come to know ourselves any better unless we make ourselves available to one another. That's pretty obvious. But, so if you do join Patreon, please just look to be active with it, you know. Look around, see what's there, and just get to know certain people or whatever and just talk to them. You can always message them privately. And like I said, if you want to share phone numbers or something like that, it's a good place to be able to do it at. You know, at least be able to get your private email addresses or whatever. But I think that's a good platform for that. At least like so far, that's what I understand it as being. How it's been um, um, managed, I guess is probably the better word to use. How Patreon has, from the creators of Patreon, how it's been managed. It's respectful. Yeah, you can either be a free member or you can join for a cup of coffee for the cost of a cup of coffee. It's like $5 a month. Yeah, you can whatever. Like uh, Daphne says, it's some people. There's a handful of people there that contribute a, quite a bit more than $5 a month, and if it wasn't for them, there would be hardly anything coming in at all. So I think there's 206 members, and 37 of those members are paid members. So and um, again, emphasizing activity. Um, you don't have to comment on the videos necessarily what's there, but just kind of touch base. For a while there, I was trying to reach out to people privately, but it's so time consuming, and I just don't have the time to do that anymore if I'm going to be doing what I'm intending to do. And so, just saying, um, yeah, I've kind of belabored that. Okay, enough of that already. So, anyhow, folks, I'm going to go ahead and, unless anybody has something they would like to talk about or discuss, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of close out for today. Here it is, 12 o'clock. I don't think I came on until like 10:15 or maybe a little bit later than that. Yeah, it's about us being ourselves and like it would normally be within a free world, you know. We just need to get back to that. Regardless of the circumstances and conditions around us, we have to, it's not so much ignore those things, but we need to just move in our own lane, you know, and be ourselves. I think much more is going to be if we're going to look at anything from a point of accomplishment, as far as collectively or whatever, I think that's where it's going to happen. It's not through a bunch of information. It really isn't. It really isn't through a bunch of information. It's about your own selective understanding of self and how you connect and what your initial intention is for being here and feeling free or freeing yourself up to be able to express that authenticity. You know, and having a bunch of knowledge can, over a period of time, be helpful, but it's really not about knowledge because there's innately within you, you know all this stuff anyhow. So it's just about being you. I think that's more effective. It's always been, at least that's been my experience. It's always been more effective when people are authentically just expressing themselves and they're giving, and because they're working through joy and they're working through um, a freedom within themselves, which really affects a great deal around you. You know, outside of just yourself personally, but how that flows over. And if you have a group of people working within that space, within that individuated aspect of authenticity, it becomes quite powerful. It becomes quite inspiring, you know, because the energy inspires energy, right? And it's not difficult because it's not a matter of conformity. It's not a matter of like, oh, I need approval for doing this, you know. Uh, I don't need approval for it, you know. Being who you are is not something that requires approval. And I'm not talking about a fallen state of consciousness. I'm talking about the authentic self, you know. Yeah, so yeah. I think that's the new thing because it's really the old thing being rediscovered, right? That is the new thing. It's not all the information, all that stuff, because you know, for the obvious reasons, one can entertain themselves with forever within the experience of the drama and all the things that entails with that, and that it's very interesting to a lot of people, and still remains to be such. But there, eventually, you get to a point where you don't care, and you just want to just be. And I think that's the new thing, which is the rediscovery, which is actually the old thing, which is that which we've always been, and just experiencing that as much as as possible within this incarnation. You know, going back to the things I had mentioned in previous live streams, and the joy, your first love experience. I'm not talking about a person. I'm talking about the things that you loved and you had affections towards it, whether it's an expression of artistry or an expression of something that relates to that flow, that, you know, the water well within you percolating up, that joy, you know, it stimulates, um, it activates, you know, use that coin word that everybody uses these days, and activation. It activates, you know, and it's always in the moment, everything. It always is, because the moment is what matters always. It's the time right here and now that's most important. It's because it's always now, right? It's always now. And it's important for us to be that way, you know, so we can be free, so that we can actually be of benefit to ourselves and others, you know, for a simpler way to look at it, I suppose you can say that. Being a benefit to ourselves means to be a benefit to others. As we expand, so do we help others, you know, if we want to look at it in those terms, you know. So, yep, we do. Yeah, for the longest time, I mean, doing this and being online, everything, when you're doing this alone. I was doing this alone, not because I was wanting to do it alone, but you're toting the line, you're pulling the line, and for years, pulling the line. And especially coming from my background where I came from, where I was active with stuff better and greater than any of the stuff I've ever done online. And then do this, and it's like everything slows down, and then you're waiting and you're waiting and you're towing the line and you're towing the line. That wears you out, you know. And everything's well, most of everything has become quite conditional online. In the real world, there's certain things that you have to do in order to get certain results, but online, a lot of this has been technology. Got to have this. I have just doing this live stream. Okay, there was a lot that was required financially and everything else to be able to do this. Just to do this. And that took a long time for me to be able to do this because of that. Because life is the way it is. Things happen, circumstances, but a lot of people online, because this has become the new thing for them to do, is like, this is the life, the online life, which I'm disagree with, but it becomes like you take it for granted. If people has a program or a channel or whatever you want to call it, um, they have to have all these things in order to be able to go to the world with it. Where myself personally, I rather just go to a building and just be there, with that group of people that show up. I'm not interested in broadcasting to the world, just not my interest. It never really was. Maybe it should be. I don't know, but I know it's not within me. It's what's more important with me is what's important to me. It's not the same for other people, but I can only speak for myself, you know. So participation, yeah, absolutely, but it has to be participation that is meaningful. Again, when you have just one person toting the line for years, waiting for other people to participate, that's, and then, like I said, you have all this other stuff in order to try to get other people to participate. Where when I was in the church, I spend a couple days with some people, and next thing you know, the whole community involved knows what's happening. The online experience has been nothing like that whatsoever, you know, and it can be extremely discouraging, and it had been so much where it poisoned me. It literally poisoned, it was toxic because of it, because I go, this is not what I know. This is just something else, and I go, it eat me up on the inside, man, you know. So, yes. Well, I love everybody that's here. It makes me happy to see people connecting. I mean, it really does. And like I said, I want to continue to be online, but not doing what I did before. And once a week, okay? And that's Fridays from now on. That's what I'm going to do, Fridays. That's the intention here until things change. And then if things do change, and they will change, I will always let everybody know what's going on for those who may be interested. And, hopefully I'll be able to go to certain areas where I'll meet some of you, you know, and that'd be awesome. You know, participation, right? We start co-creating with one another. People start, you know, putting together events, you know. Um, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to be involved with it. Everything that I've done before. Like I said, I'm done with it. I have the capability of doing it. I can't carry that anymore. I can't carry that on my shoulder. I just can't. I have to do my thing, you know. But that's what everybody else is for. Everybody has their own thing that they want to do, and they have a drive, a passion for it, and then they're the ones that need to be doing it because they have the drive and passion for it, right? But it all starts somewhere, and I haven't been doing this for 15 years for nothing, right? So, yeah, I do have, like on my website, you can find on any video here on YouTube, you can find in the description, you can find links to my website and other things, ways that you can support financially, and other links to Patreon or whatever it may be. You can find virtually everything there. So if you want to email me directly about something that you would like to talk to me directly about, you can find that information through the links of any of the videos you have here on YouTube. A little bit later, I will be putting those links within this live stream video as well. So you can access that through the description of this video after I get done streaming. I'm getting tired, so I guess it's time for me to go. Unless anybody else has something else they would like to talk about or say. But I'll go ahead and play a piece of music or something, and then I'll come back, and if nobody else has said anything, I'll just go ahead and close out. Okay? All right. Thank you, folks, for showing up. Thank you for being here. And thank you for connecting with one another and desiring to connect with one another. Okay? Thank you. I'm going to play. I think I'll. There we go.
Bright lit sun.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. I can see everything. Been on here for quite a while, so. Okay, so again, thank you everybody for showing up and communicating, um, sharing personal convictions, and I can see that some of that was there, and I really appreciate that. And saying some pretty encouraging things. I really appreciate that, just to let you know. Kind of losing my voice here. So I will, like I said, and Daphne has been saying over and over again, in order to be able to communicate with me, there's a lot of ways to be able to do that, and I just want to encourage that. If you want to reach out to me in private, through email or through Patreon or however you would like to be able to do that. Originally, I had my phone number on my website, but I took it off because of just particular reasons. Um, but if you want to contact me, there's plenty of ways to be able to do that. And I'll be interested in hearing from you. So, all right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and say blessings to all of you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Virginia. Um, thank you, everybody. Sorry, I can't remember everybody's name. I'm just looking at what's popping up in front of me here. So, thank you, everybody. Tantra One, thank you. Everybody, peace, love, and all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you next time. All right.